Whoa, so deep. Okay, hey, I'm Ness. We're going to talk about, Proverbs today. We have been showing you these quick little Bible project videos, which I think are like stellar, like really good. So we're going to watch the one on Proverbs, and then we'll chat a little bit about it, okay?
Let's start by meeting the book of Proverbs, the really young teacher. And she's not just smart, she's smart about everything: work, relationships, sex, spirituality. She has incredible insights, things you wouldn't see on your own.
Yeah, she would be the perfect friend to have around when you need really specific advice.
So what makes her so smart?
Well, Proverbs can see things that most people don't see. She believes that there's an invisible creative force in the universe that can guide people in how they should live. And you can't see it, just like you can't see gravity, but it affects everything that we do.
So what's this force?
Well, in Hebrew, it's called chokhmah. And it usually gets translated into English as wisdom. It's an attribute of God that God used to create the world. And Chokhmah has been woven into the fabric of things and how they work. So wherever people are making good or just or wise decisions, they're tapping into Chokhmah.
And whenever someone's making a bad decision, they're working against Chokhmah.
Right, or as it says in Proverbs chapter 1, the waywardness of fools will destroy them, but the one who listens to wisdom lives in security.
So it's like a moral law of the universe.
Yeah, it's a cause-effect pattern, and no one can escape it. And Proverbs personifies all of this as a woman.
Yeah, Lady Wisdom.
Right, and she roams around the earth, calling out, making herself available to anyone who's willing to listen to her and to learn. Which leads to the second thing Proverbs believes, that anyone can access and interact with wisdom and use it to make a beautiful life for yourself or for others.
You can create with it like a designer.
Yes, in fact, chokhmah in Hebrew isn't simply intellectual knowledge. The word is also used to describe a skilled artisan who excels at their craft, like woodworking or stonemasonry. So you show you possess chokhmah when you put it to work and develop the skill of making a good life.
Okay, that makes sense. So let's do this. Let's go find some wisdom.
But before you do, Proverbs has one more really important thing to consider. Chokhmah isn't some impersonal force. It's an attribute of God himself. And so in Hebrew thought, your journey to becoming wise has to begin with what Proverbs calls the fear of the Lord. It's this healthy respect for God's definition of good and evil. And true wisdom means learning those boundary lines and not crossing them.
Now, all those ideas you just unpacked are in chapters 1 through 9 in Proverbs. But when I think of the book of Proverbs, I think of the collection of sayings, the Proverbs themselves. Tell me about those.
Yeah, those are what you find in chapters 10 on to the end of the book. It's a collection of hundreds and hundreds of proverbs about any and all aspects of life. And chokhmah gets applied to them, resulting in this wise guidance to help you find a path towards success, and no matter what you do.
If I design my life with these sayings, life is going to be good.
Yeah, or as Proverbs puts it, it'll give health to your bones, prosperity, a long, rich life.
Which is a really big claim.
But you can see how it's often the case. Wise people, they tend to do better. Things usually work out well for them in life. And so that is the promise and the wisdom of the book of Proverbs.
Easy peasy. Just follow Proverbs and you're all good. That's the end of the talk. No, it's not. Because it's so much bigger than that and broader than that, and we will chat about Lady Wisdom. I shall be playing the part of Lady Wisdom in this play. It's wonderful. It's really good. It's fitting, I would say. This is the thing. I feel like a couple of things, quick things. I'm Ness. Some of you I do not know, which is wild. I love to be here. I go to Red Door. I have 3 children. My husband Chris is here, and I'll show you a picture of my children when they were young, because now they're elder children. This is Luke over there is West, and then Penelope is Leia, and then the green one is Clementine. She's Yoda. She's been green in most Halloween costumes. Don't know why. Still is. She's different than the rest. So, but the thing is like when I had these kids, I had them, and I didn't know anything about having children or any of that stuff. I had West when I was 25, and I literally remember walking out of the hospital with him in this, carrying him out and being like, "What do I feed this baby?" And the nurse was like, "Ha ha." And I was like, no, seriously, like, when do I feed this baby? Like, literally, like, what? I don't know anything about raising children. And you read the books. You wish that there were more books that would apply directly to your children. But after I had West, there was a hot second where I was like, maybe you'll be an only child because you're a lot. And then I was like, I'll have one more. And then Penelope was literally totally different from West. Totally different, like 100%. I was like, this is so easy. Actually, West is a hard kid. This kid is easy. Let's have more, because certainly we won't have another hard one. Clementine broke us. Like, and some of you who've been around remember her screams. Probably they live in your heart, the screams of the child. She was just the loudest kid in the world. And so I remember being like, well, that's the end of all of these things. So I couldn't handle anymore. And the wild part is like, I remember when I adopted a hamster when I was like, I don't know, 8, they gave me like a book on how to feed the hamster and how to take care of the hamster and how not to put the hamster in dangerous situations or dangle him by his legs. No such book for the kid. I walked out with nothing. When I got my driver's license, it was like I had to take a test to get the license. With the kid, they're like, good, see ya. Like, I'm like, this is a child that I'm supposed to raise. Like, it's shocking, really. There's no such manual for things. And just when you think you have it figured out, everything shifts. And y'all know, I see some people and they're like, yes, it's never the same. And now West is turning 21 and I still don't know what I'm doing. Like, literally still don't know how to do this. And it's crazy because I would like it to be simple. I would like it to be easy. One thing that we did, I remember you all probably did the same. When your kid turns 3 and you look at them and they barely figured out the toilet, and then you're like, we're going to put you on a soccer team. Did you do that? Did you do the same thing where you were like, obviously you can understand the strategy of soccer. That's fine. You're 3. Like, no, they can't. Like, no. Why do we do it? Like, what do we think? Do we think we have Pele in our midst? Like, we do not. You do not have Ronaldo. Like, it's not going to happen for you, my friends. We're in America, first of all. And second of all, like, just give up. And I don't know. I did soccer when I was a kid, and so did my husband. We're like, we will have athletic children. No, it doesn't. The genes did not pass to these ones. And so it was wild because when West went to soccer, when he was 3, like a genius, I put him in there and he just like twirled around on the field, never touched the ball, was just like, da-da-da-da-da, like he always does. Penelope was like, just hated the fact that there was wet grass stuck to her shoes, so she spent the entire time just picking wet grass off her shoes and crying a little bit. And so when Clementine turned 3, I remember being like, okay, we got this. I know what's happening. I know how they do soccer. So we also have a coffee shop named True West, and that was literally our 4th and loudest child of all. And so Chris was tending to that coffee shop on Saturday always, and I was taking my children to play soccer on this field. Now, the older 2 they do not care about that green child. Like, they don't care about whether or not she plays soccer well. They don't care if she scores a goal. They don't care that she's there, in fact. And so I'll show you a picture of Clementine so you can see just how itty bitty she was when we started this thing. That's her figuring out how to say 3 and me saying, ready for soccer, A solid 18 inches tall, like maybe 7 pounds, don't know, couldn't remember. But like, look at that head. She had no idea what was going on. Like, she's just like, ah. And I was like, we're going to put you on this field. So here we are on the hottest day in the world, on 1,000 soccer fields. You know how it is, where you're like looking around and being like, is this the field? I've never met these people before, in this yellow shirt that goes down to her feet, and she's like, and I'm like, go out there and kick the ball. And the other kids start fighting like feral cats. And you're like, and trying to watch your kid out in the soccer field and be like, go Clementine. And the other ones are like, ah, And so finally I was like, you're embarrassing me. I must talk to you, children. And so the other ones I'm talking to, and I'm saying, hey guys, you're embarrassing everybody, and I can't be looked at like a terrible mom, like they know I am, because you are screaming at each other. And I look up after calming them down, and Clementine's gone. Just poof, gone. Like where'd she go? What happened to her? No. I'm like, I look at every kid, and I'm looking for the small one, because she's like this tall. I mean, it's like she's like a gnome, like a garden gnome running on the field. Like, I can find her, certainly. No, I can't. And then I look beyond. beyond. And like 5 soccer fields over, she's just running through all the fields. Like she never stopped. She just ran with the crowd and then just kept running and through everybody's fields, through all, the games are happening, and she's just like keeps running and I was like, you're gonna get literally flattened by these boys or whatever. So I'm like, I just ditch the other kids, run after this little tiny speck of yellow. And I'm thinking the whole time, like, I thought I had this figured out. Like, I thought you'd just stand there. I don't know what I thought, but like, I didn't think that. So I remember that, and I think like guidebooks would be better. You know what I mean? Like a guidebook for marriage and a guidebook for raising a kid, and maybe like a guidebook for like, I don't know, how to be a human. Like all of these things would be helpful. And then you've read them and you're like, this doesn't really apply to me, and this doesn't really apply to me. And you're right, because people, us, humans, are not easy problems to be solved. Just like my children are complex, very, and Clementine is complex, very. Like you would be, like it's wrong to boil them down to one thing, just like your marriage, get a book, you're like, I'm gonna read this book and this is gonna tell me how to be married and have it be good. And then you're like, oh wait, this isn't like me at all. Like, no, probably not. But the thing is, it's like we do this with the Bible. We make the Bible into this guidebook. And if you're from the 90s, which I can see some of y'all have lived it, we remember basic instructions before leaving Earth? Like that's Bible, like literally like that was 90s. Like if you've escaped it, good for you. But like it really was. We looked at the Bible like it was like the guidebook. You follow these instructions, you do what it says, and huzzah, your life is great. But in reality, it's far more complex. And we know that mentally, and yet we still, how many of us have still wished for the Bible to be a little more clear? When Jesus starts talking in parables, you're like, could you just say it though? Just like say it, like why do you gotta be all like mysterious in that? Why are we talking about sheep and coins and things like that when you could just say, do this thing? And then I'd be like, Jesus said it. Okay, right? Why is the Bible so confusing? Why is the Bible so deep? And why do we try to pick it apart and say, I got it, figured it out, know what this is saying? It's tricky. And the thing is like Proverbs is the perfect book to fall right into that trap. Right into the trap of being like, it tells me what to do. It is wisdom. And Lady Wisdom is speaking these words. I shall take them. I shall apply them. The end. My life will be good. As Jeff talked about last week, it doesn't always work out that way. Ecclesiastes, the teacher was like, everything's meaningless and everything falls apart and give up, basically, which I'm like, fair. Sometimes I feel like that. And sometimes I feel like, no. I have my life under control, actually. I'm doing real good. And Proverbs makes me sort of feel that way. When you're like organized sometimes, when you get those like bursts of organizations and you're like, probably gonna label my spice drawer or something insane, and you're like, this is awesome. All those with ADHD are like, oh yes, I built a robot yesterday. Have I ever put away my laundry? No. Robot, yes, this is my son. He does that. But we have to think about it this way. Proverbs is tricky because we can apply things directly. We can make it like one for one. Oh, look what it says, and I'm going to do it. It's literal. The Bible says it. I believe it. I'm going to do it type of thing. But you get into some danger zones. We have to remember the context. If Solomon truly wrote this book, he wrote it for his sons. And his sons were going to be kings. So it's like first is your perspective. It's for a group of kids that are going to rule nations, right? That's what he thought. That's what it says. So that's first thing. That's tricky, right? There's also some key verses, I feel, in Proverbs that could maybe shake you up a little bit if you really take it one for one. For instance, this one. Proverbs 13:24. Whoever spares the rod hates their children, but the one who loves their children is careful to discipline them. Where's the stick you smack your babies with, my friends? Do you ever think about that? Maybe some of you have one. Don't tell me that ever, actually. But maybe it's true. Maybe you're like, here's the rod, and I whack my kids with it whenever they step out of line. Some of you are like, okay, but you gotta, it's discipline. Like, it's a timeout. It's a talking to. It's maybe you standing in the corner. I don't know what the heck happens in your house. But like, you go, I apply discipline in this way. Aha, my friends, you are using wisdom as you read these verses. Because perhaps you're not saying one for one, although last message, somebody came up to me and said, oh no, my friend had a rod and and it was this, and it was only that, and his kid is in prison right now. And I was like, man, great. But that's what I mean. That's the thing. When you do take, I'm not saying your kid's going to end up in prison for the Lord, but that's not what I'm talking about. But what I am saying is you take it literally and apply no wisdom, perhaps you end up in traps you don't mean to end up in, Another one is 16:30. Whoever winks with their eye is plotting perversity, and whoever purses their lips is bent on evil. That means if you've ever winked, you've been plotting perversity. I had a friend who would not let their daughter date any boy who has winked. Have you ever winked? Because you're plotting perversity, and I don't want my daughter to date that. Like what? What are you talking about? It's just so literal. No, the point is actually someone with they're winking because of it. Not the action didn't cause the perversity. It was why they're, you know what I'm saying? It was you can't, it's like me winking on stage is not being in my heart I have, it's just not. So I think the trick is going, okay, there are verses here, but we have to look a little deeper, and we have to do this with Lady Wisdom. Because she is talked about throughout the book, and she is the one that guides us as we pursue depth, as we pursue, where do I go? What do I do? How do I live the good life? Lady Wisdom is our partner in that. And here's the thing. I'm going to talk about Lady Wisdom. I'm going to use that word a lot. Lady Wisdom is not another God. It's not a person. It is the wisdom of God personified. Personified means it's like a metaphor where you apply a concept to, and make those concepts be sort of like a human or something like that. So Lady Wisdom is the metaphor of God's wisdom, if that makes sense. So we talk about this and we separate it because we need to know that Lady Wisdom is not cold. She's not disconnected from you. She's not like this entity that God has. It's more like she is soft-hearted toward you, loving toward you, thinking of you, wanting you to know her. And she has been there since the beginning. At this church, I feel like we always end up coming right back to Genesis 1-3, literally every talk. You're like, are we talking about Genesis 1-3 again? Wow, can't believe it. It's no, it's true. It's the foundation. It's the story that continues the story that continues the story all the way to Jesus. And it truly is. So Genesis 1-3, she talks about it in Proverbs. She's like, I was there, man, from the very beginning with God. And she says, I was formed, this is in Proverbs 8:23. I was formed long ages ago, at the very beginning, when the world came to be. When there were no watery depths, I was given birth. When there were no springs overflowing with water. Before the mountains were settled in place, before the hills, I was given birth. Before he made the worlds or its fields or any of the dust of the earth, I was there when he set the heavens in place, and he marked out the horizon from the face of the deep, chaos into order, right? Then I was constantly at his side. I was filled with delight day after day, rejoicing always in his presence, rejoicing in his whole world, and delighting in mankind. Lady Wisdom is his partner in creation, in creating order from the chaotic, tumultuous universe, making the cosmos make sense. And she delights in us. She delights in mankind. She rejoices over you. This is not a disconnected thought. This is not the cerebral coldness that I think we kind of apply to wisdom sometimes. There's this connection to us that Lady Wisdom has, and I think this is why it's personified. Not just because it helps us understand it better, but so we understand that there's heart in this being of wisdom, in God's character. There's this heart, there's this connection toward us that even in his wisdom, he's rejoicing. He's looking at you and saying, oh, I love you so much. Oh my gosh, I have such good things for you. So this Lady Wisdom is the partner of God who architected those cosmos. And through Lady Wisdom, he made everything. So she's not hidden from us either. And that's the thing, I think, there's so many decisions we make in our lives. It's just all the time being like, what should I do? Like I remember I met Jesus when I was 18 years old, and I remember being like, what college do I go to? And that was a big one, and some of your kids maybe have gone through that, or you have, where you're like, ooh, this or that. But there's no yes or no, right? There's no good, bad. There's like, where should I go? Who should I date? Who should I marry? Where should I work? What house should I buy? What should I do with this? How do I take care of my mother? How do I take care of my sister? How do I deal with people at work? How do I deal with people at school? There's so many miniature decisions you make all day long. And we have this thought in our brains where we're like, I have to do this all alone. And instead, that's not the truth. The truth is that Lady Wisdom calls to us. She asks us to come close. And it says in Proverbs 8:8, does not wisdom call out? Does not understanding raise her voice? At the highest point along the way where the paths meet, she takes her stand. Beside the gate leading into the city, at the entrance, she cries aloud. To you, O people, I call out. I raise my voice to all mankind. She is not hidden. In fact, she stands at the gate on a high point so you can see her, so you can't miss her. And she's like, come to me. I want to know you. I want to be near you. She's at the place where the paths meet and then push out again. You find her, and then you make choices based on partnership with her. And this is a tricky thing because she asks us to come, to follow. She doesn't hide. She's not like, ooh, the mysteries of wisdom are hidden from you, my friend. It's like, no, she's like, I'm right here. But are you listening to my call? Or what are you listening to? Because honestly, there's a lot of other voices. A lot. There's the voices of folly in Proverbs, which is talked about. The women of folly is the antithesis of Lady Wisdom. So it takes time, and it's complicated. And if you do it without any thought, life, start smacking your kids with the rod because you think, well, I got to do that, even though I don't want to, even though maybe I don't feel good about it. You start thinking, I guess that's what I do. So what do we do with that? How do we do this? We got a million decisions. We want to have wisdom. None of us are trying to be like, I don't need that. I'm fine without wisdom. You all know you need it. So how do you get it? What are we doing here? Proverbs talks about how the fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom. The knowledge of the Holy One is understanding. Great. Fear of God. Jeff talked about this last week. They talked about it in that Bible video. And you think about fear, and some of you have come from backgrounds where you really actually do fear God. Fear. You're spooked. He's scary, he's big, he's gonna find you, he's watching you. He's like Santa's elves, but real mean. You know what I mean? He's like, what have you been doing? You're naughty, you're nice. All those things. And it's it gets scary when you start thinking about God as only judge, or God as someone who's trying to strike you with lightning, or something like that. And some of you have come from traditions where perhaps you are a little scared. I would like to reframe some of those things for you and see if it'll help. Maybe a better metaphor for fear is the way we look at the ocean. So I love the ocean, love. I was on a cruise boat last year, and there were these huge, giant waves. And whoa, baby, boat was like this. It was wackadoo. I saw some things on that boat because of that. It was it was not okay. And this boat's the size of a city. It's huge. I don't know how many thousands of people are on this boat, but 100,000, it felt 6. But it was a lot. But a lot. And the waves were insane. And I was like, the ocean looks so still, when you're chilling, and then you see the ocean and you're like, whoa, baby. One storm could just knock this boat down, Titanic, this thing. It was wild. And I remember thinking this is the scariest thing on earth, is the ocean. And then the next day, I'm snorkeling in this awesome place that Disney has, and I was like, the ocean's the best thing in the world. You know what I mean? And that's the ocean, where it's you gotta know the power of the ocean, but you also know the beauty and the goodness. So should you be afraid? You should be very aware of the power of the ocean, but you shouldn't just be afraid, where you're like, oh, the ocean, I put my foot in it, oh my gosh. You know what I mean? It's not like that. But it feels like God is something like that, where God is majestic, huge, powerful, but also he wants to come near you when you're sad. You know, like, so there's this like, can we reframe fear from I'm so scared to going, oh, wow, you're so majestic. That's the fear that we're talking about. It's the same way we look at the ocean. Wow, you're huge. I need to respect you, ocean. Also, wow, so beautiful, right? So if we can reframe fear into that, that's what we're talking about when we talk about fear of the Lord. Fear of the Lord is knowing his power, but also knowing his majesty, knowing the greatness of God. So if we understand that, that's part of understanding wisdom. Because fear, this level of fear, requires some things. It requires us to be humble. If we're humble, because we know God is majestic and amazing and powerful and the best, we can go, I will accept where you lead me, right? If we know the fear of the Lord, we can be a little vulnerable and know, shoot, okay, I don't know everything, and I need you to guide me. Vulnerable, like I am kind of like a kid here, you know? I need you to like walk with me in this, and that's good. That's a beautiful thing. The thing is that the fear of God allows you to realize that God is so much more than we think he is. We love to boil things down into this black and white thinking, this understanding of right, wrong, yes, no, good, bad, that kind of thing. We love that. It's easy, it's simple. But life is not black and white, and we know that. We know that because of like when you chose, I don't know, a job or something. It wasn't black and white. A major wasn't black and white. I mean, maybe it was. Maybe you're like, I'm an engineer. I was born to be an engineer. You engineers, you love black and white. It's your favorite thing in the world, actually. It's the best. But you know, because if you're married, life isn't black and white, because your wife's probably like, wrong, you know, or if, you know, I mean, seriously, it's a wild out, it's engineers. You guys love the black and white thinking. And it's true, because it's just simpler. And if you can like get there and know what you're doing is right, it's so much easier. But God doesn't do that. Lady Wisdom knows that life isn't black and white. It is just shades of gray. And gray is complex. And gray is like this awesome color in color theory. It's actually a mix, not just of black and white, but a bunch of colors. And the thing is, the truth is, it's like the complexity adds mystery. It adds the ability for us to go, whoa, I don't think I have all this in the palm of my hand like I thought I did. I don't think I know everything so well. And that's kind of awesome, but also very scary, because we like to have control over the things in our lives. We like to have control over our kids, if we could, but we can't. We'd like to have control over our finances, our homes, our lives, our health, but it's so much more complex than that, isn't it? You might have a plan for where your life is going, and you're like, oh, this is great. I've chosen the good things, the good life, and then all of a sudden something happens, and you're like, but I did the right things. Yes, you did, and you still are dealing with hard things. And life is hard, and I understand that. It's letting go of that level of control is where wisdom comes in. Letting go of, I know everything, and everything's going to work out the way I think it's going to go. It's the beginning of that. Because when you allow yourself to start thinking not in black and white, that's when mystery comes in, and that's when you allow Lady Wisdom to speak to you. As Christians, it's common for us to get assimilated into some way of thinking. Some ministry, church, speaker, something probably gave you a way of thinking. It's like rules and theology, and it feels nice to know it. And maybe when you were a very young Christian, like I said, I was 18, so nice to have the rules. It really was. I needed to know what to do and what not to do. I really did. And I remember having conversations. I was involved in Young Life forever, but when I was a teenager. And I remember thinking, I remember asking my Young Life leader a lot of those questions. Is this okay or is that okay? You know, I'd never been to church before. I was like, I don't know what to do. You know, is it okay to date whoever I want? I'm going to. You know what I mean? I felt like I didn't know there was rules by that. I just thought you just dated people that you liked. And they were like, well, you probably should think about it. And I was like, oh, you know, that kind of thing. Oh, you date. You think, I see. I see now. But it's but the thing is knowing the rules makes it comfortable, clean, and simple. And then something happens to shake up your life. And then all of a sudden, it's not clean and simple. And all of a sudden, it's so much more complex than that. Maybe like you read something in the Bible that makes you go, if this, then this, then this? What? I got to think about that. Maybe you read a book and it was like, oh, wait, I never thought about that. Or maybe your friend maybe asked you some questions and made you start thinking about things and made you go, ooh, the Bible is complex. God is far more complex. I don't know the answer. And then you feel maybe a level of shame. I don't know the answer? Shouldn't I know all the answers? I'm 46 years old. I should know all the answers. Well, guess what? The older I get, and I'm sure this is true for many of you, the less I know. I'm like, I don't know. I don't have the answer. Like my kids are always like, what about this? And I'm like, like, I don't know. Like I don't have all the answers. There's just something that happens when you see the complexity of God, you start going, I guess I don't have that nailed down yet. I guess I don't have all of Jesus in my pocket like I thought I would. Well, surprise, he's a little bigger than that, right? But the thing is that when faith or God or the Bible start to feel confusing, start to feel shaky, you start to feel out of control, woo, good time for Lady Wisdom to come in. Good time for you to pursue her. Good time for you to be like, I don't have all the answers. And Lady Wisdom's like, yeah, duh. Like, of course, come to me, my friend. Let's hang out, let's talk. Desire for the control over all those little pieces destroys your faith, guys. It really does. It chips away at it. It makes it like compact and almost like too small for you. When you start to like break out of that and push at it and see the majesty and the mystery of God, they deserve conversation and questions and awe. And I think that there's a lot of wonderful places to do that in this church, to have those conversations, those questions. Maybe in some places you've been before, if you had those doubts or questions, maybe it felt to you like people were going to be angry with you, or maybe make you feel like small, or like you should have all this together. Why don't you have all the answers? But I don't think that's true necessarily in this church. So like if that's you, feel free to have those convos. Feel free to be like, I don't get it. I'm confused about this. I have a doubt about that. I don't know. Like I do that all the time because I think wrestling with all this stuff is actually super biblical. Having Lady Wisdom next to you as you ponder these things is the best thing you can do. Think about like the wrestling that we've seen in the Bible, like Jacob wrestling God, literally, Jesus wrestling emotionally in the garden. There are points where we are going to have to come to terms and think about this. This is holy work. This is refining. This isn't embarrassing. This isn't a problem. This is all over the place. You, Lady Wisdom, having a chat, that is super important stuff. And we have to turn our eyes to Lady Wisdom to pursue her. So how do we pursue her? I want to know. Give me the answers. Okay, I'll go. So in Proverbs 8:17, Lady Wisdom says, I love those who love me, for those who seek me find me. Some of you are like, that sounds familiar. It sure does. Okay, seeking wisdom is the path to knowing. It's being enveloped by God. She goes on to say in Proverbs 9, she's prepared her meat and mixed her wine. She's also set her table. She's set out her servants, and she calls from the highest point in the city. Let all who are simple, that's stupid. Simple is the word stupid. Let all who are stupid come to my house. For those who have no sense, she says, come eat my food. Drink the wine I have mixed. Leave your stupid ways and you will live. Walk in the way of insight. Oh my gosh. You know how often I just want to be like, I'm stupid. Like, please let me sit at your feet. Because sometimes I just feel like completely overwhelmed. Some of it's with kids where I'm like, well, I got no idea how to raise a 20-year-old. Like, literally, did I do it? Is it over? No, it's not. He's in my basement. He'll be there. You know what I mean? It's not over. Like, by the way, like, nope. Like, I have a 14-year-old. Game on. We're going forever, I feel like. But here's the thing. Lady Wisdom, is asking you to come and partake and have nourishment with her. When she talks about feeding you, she's feeding you truth. She's like, come, I'm going to nourish you. It's my wine with my food. I have truth to tell you. I have a place for you to go. I'm calling you to me. If you seek me, you will find me. That's really interesting. You think that sounds familiar because it sounds like Jesus. Because spoiler, it's Jesus. It is. Matthew 7, It says, ask and it will be given to you, seek and you will find, knock and the door will be opened to you. For everyone who asks receives, the one who seeks finds, and the one who knocks, the door will be opened to you. It's the same words. You think it's by accident? Like, no. It's because God's wisdom, guess what? Jesus has it. Lady Wisdom lives with Jesus. Jesus' wisdom is the same as God's wisdom. Beautiful, right? So he's saying, when you pursue Lady Wisdom, you're pursuing me. When you pursue me, you're pursuing Lady Wisdom. There's a path here where he's calling from those hills, saying, come to me, come to me, come to me. And how does he nourish? When they were eating, Jesus took the bread. When he had given thanks, he broke it and gave to his disciples, saying, take and eat, this is my body. When he took a cup, he had given thanks, gave it to them, and saying, drink from it, all of you. This is my blood of the covenant, which is poured out for the many for the forgiveness of sins. Nourishment in truth, nourishment in the covenant of God, the promise where he's like, hey, I'm with you, man. I want you. I'm calling out to you. Come to me. Right now, come to me, and I will give you what you seek. And this feels complex. Some of you are like, you didn't actually tell me how to do this. Did you know that? You said you'd tell me, but then you said like seek God. And like, how do you do that? Aha, yeah, because it's not black and white, friends. Engineers, relax. It's not black and white. You gotta look around. You gotta pursue. You gotta seek. You have to quiet your mind. Oh, it's so hard. Man, I read this thing that said like, because we have like a phone or whatever, all of that time, that boredom time, that's when our brain actually would like do its deepest thinking. The time when you're in line and you've got nothing else to think about, or the time when you're like waiting for something to happen, or for, whatever. It's like that's the deepest thinking. Your brain like takes all your thoughts and kind of winds them together. And we fill that time with like, blah, 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 scrolling, cute puppy, la, la, la. You know what I mean? And it's like we have no quiet. And God's like, we need the quiet. You need to find me in the quiet. He says, I need you to look for me in those times. Oh, the band can come up. That's one thing. Wisdom. But we are pursuing this wisdom in the same way we're pursuing Jesus. So that means we got to make it a goal. That means it's got to be something where we don't go, hey, my pursuit of Jesus means that I can say I don't have these answers all nailed down. Maybe you have some big darn questions in your head that you're like, I've been wrestling with this in my brain for a long time and I don't know how to voice it. I'm afraid that if I say my doubt, my question, my fear, my whatever, that it's gonna like land me in some hot water. I was kicked out of a church once because I said blah, 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 blah. Is that gonna happen here? Maybe talk to you about it with Josh. Probably won't kick you out because that's not what we do here much, unless you're trying to hurt somebody like, like Gracie. Gracie, don't hurt Gracie. We'll kick you out. But beyond that, we really love you. So like, here's the thing, Gracie, I do love you, really. Do you know Gracie's parents? They're the best. They really are. Anyways, this is my side note. Okay. So we don't get an obvious book. We don't get an obvious guidebook. The Bible isn't something where we can like put a pin in it and say, nailed it, nailed it, nailed it. You don't get a gold star for being the best Christian and having all the answers. Probably the people in this room that are the oldest will be like, I have 3 answers. That's pretty much all the answers I have. Literally. I don't know if that's true for you. But I think the most intolerable Christians are the ones that think they have it all down. And the ones who are the most approachable, and the ones that look the most like Jesus, are the ones that are pretty okay with mystery. Pretty okay with going, I'm going to trust Lady Wisdom on this. I'm going to ask her. I'm going to try to follow the best I can. Then I'm going to have faith that God is leading me in a way that's closer to him. Because at the end of this, the way Lady Wisdom nourishes us with her food is the same way Jesus nourishes us through his covenant, through communion, and all the things. That's just a remembrance of that. So when we talk about communion, we always say, like, come and receive communion. It's this nourishment of the promise of God. It's not like just a symbol necessarily. It's actually a lot deeper than that. It's this idea of when you take those bread and the wine and all that stuff, you're like, taking this promise inside of your body and saying, like, I'm literally digesting the covenant of God. Remembering that I am loved and saved because Jesus goes, you are worth that to me. I will fight for you. I will look for you. I will stand on the hill and call to you. I will say, come to me, come to me, come to me. Seek me, you'll find me. I love you so much. And that is like very important. So this wisdom character and Jesus do the same things for you. And they both have this soft heart toward you, this affection that can't be replaced and is mysterious and bigger than you think. And even that affection you can't put in your pocket and hold there. Even that affection is gray. That affection runs bigger than you think. So I want you to pursue that. I want you to think through that as you kind of take communion, this idea of like ingesting the nourishment and the covenant of God, and also knowing maybe there's more for you to find as you do that. As you pursue Jesus, maybe there's more for you to find in him. Maybe it's all not pocket-sized for you. It's not black and white. You can't nail it down, and that makes it all the better because you'll be able to search it out forever and still find more. I'm going to pray, and then you guys can take communion and worship with us. And after, there will be people to pray with you up here that maybe you have those thoughts and those fears and those doubts, and you're like, shoot, I need someone to talk to me about it. Talk to them. That's really nice. They're nice people, okay? I shall pray. Jesus, we lift all these thoughts up to you. We know that we don't have it nailed down. I really don't. I know like 3 things, and one of them is that you love us desperately with your whole heart, with your guts, with your life, with your death, with your resurrection. And I'm so grateful for that. God, let us be nourished by the hope you give us in the cross. Let us be nourished by Lady Wisdom, who seeks us out and says, hey, you idiots, look at me. I'm looking for you and I love you so much. And I have things for you to know and things for you to let go of. Things for you to let go of and just see me. I'm grateful that I can be stupid with you and you don't look at me and say, I wish you weren't. You just look at me and say, you're my kid. I'm with you. I'm with you. I'm with you. I'm with you. I pray all these things. I ask that you bless this church. There would be people who seek wisdom and don't seek to have all the answers, but just seek you and your face. I'm grateful for you, Lady Wisdom. It's in your name. Amen.